Welcome to another Figuring Out Japan video. We sell all the coolest Japanese collectibles and figurines straight out of Japan. You can find out more details about us in the description of this video, including our Facebook page and our eBay store, including a direct link to where you can buy these figures, which is the Dragon Ball Kai Frieza's Force Frieza's Spaceship. It's a pretty long name. And this was actually a rather unique figurine series. It's not an Ichiban Kuji, nor is it a WCF, a World Collectible Figure. This was basically a sort of one-off figure series. And before we actually get into the figures themselves, we'll have a look at the boxes. And as you can see, they look pretty similar, the boxes at least. But the figures themselves are, even though they're exactly the same mold, they actually do look quite different because of the coloring scheme. But you can see here on the left we have Freeza in his first form, right here. And then on the right we have Freeza in his perfect form. So that's the easy way, just by looking at the box, to know which one is which. And I have got the right figure in front of the right box. So that's what they look like. But before we look at the figures, let's just have a bit of a closer look at the box. And I'll just move the figure out of the way. So as I said, this is the front of the box, and then the top pretty much looks the same. A lot of the sides doesn't really show the figure and in a better way. That's the other side, it's exactly the same, and the bottom is, I know it's upside down, but pretty much the same thing again. But the back of it, we do see quite a bit of information. So there is pretty much the same picture on the front of the box, and then here we do get a bit of a better view of the top of the figure, and then the bottom of the figure, and then another sort of overall look at it with some couple of close-ups. And then this is actually all of the figures that you could collect in this figure series. So these were the whole I guess idea of this was to make this to scale, and these are all of the different figures that you can get in the series. So you can pause the screen to know who they are, but basically that's Freeza in first form, Dodoria, Zarbon, Kui, I think his name was, that guy, and then I don't know his name, but I think Vegeta killed him. He was like the medical guy. And then the Ginyu Force, of course, and then again you got Frieza second form. I don't know his name. I think these three guys were just kind of like henchmen. And then you got Perfect Frieza third form, second form Zarbon, and then just another two henchmen there. So there were 20 of those to collect. They were quite small, but yeah, you could ideally collect all of them and create that sort of scene to scale. Now it is important for me to note to you that, and you'll see this when I show you the figures later, but the spaceship itself doesn't open up, so there's no details at all inside the ship. So even though these are kind of to scale, you can't actually put them physically inside the ship. The other thing, which is actually quite misleading on the box, is that these figures do not have any electronics in them. They are purely plastic figures, so you can't actually make them light up. So although I have actually seen people in Japan put electronics in these, if you're a bit of a hobbyist when it comes to electronics, you could probably do that pretty easily. Stick a few LEDs in there, hook up a circuit, and off you go. But yeah, it doesn't come with that as you buy it. So that's that one. So let's now actually have a look at the other one. So you saw the front of it before. As I said, pretty much exactly the same thing, but you'll see it says special color version at the bottom. And the top, just like the other one, has Freeza in his perfect form with a picture of the figure, and then you've kind of got that same artwork design as the other one. And then the back is actually has some different pictures but follows almost the same pattern as the one we just looked at. And just having a look at these figures here, oh, I should show you as well. You can see down here, so it was released in 2010, both of them were, I believe, and it does say here for use as prize in Japan only, so Japanese exclusive. And I probably should have showed you as well the gold to animation sticker. A lot of people ask about that. So this is actually the second series, kind of like a re-release version, maybe because of the demand. Banpresto felt it was worth releasing them again. So pretty much the same lineup, but I think I was checking it briefly before. I believe that they look slightly different. I don't actually have the figures to compare to, but I don't know, they might actually be exactly the same. I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe the re-release ones are a little bit more metallic-y and a little bit more darker, but that just might be how it appears on the artwork on the box. I don't know, but for example, if you look here at the second stage Frieza, he looks quite dark and has a lot of toning, but if you actually compare it to this one here, he actually looks quite, quite white compared to it. So I actually don't know. Anyway, let's get these out of the way and have a look at the figures themselves. Now, just to give you an idea of scale, so that's my hand, my very ugly hand. So you can see roughly the size of that. And if you've seen the new WCF, well, it was released in December 2015. I have reviewed that. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video. I don't have one handy with me now, but that is 190 millimeters, so 19 centimeters. So you can see where that comes to on the ship. So that's the new release one. So this one actually is, it's a bit hard to show with the height and everything, but it's 290 centimeters, sorry, 290 millimeters, so 29 centimeters. So fairly big. So again, just to show you the comparison, the old one comes to about here. So you've got an extra, 11 centimeters in size. So it is quite notably bigger. And yeah, basically nothing on this moves. There's no articulation or anything. But you can see here it's got some nice detailing, some nice lines and designs around the back part here. And then you get the sort of purple sphere. And then around the side you've got these nice sort of plastic bits that go all the way around. So that looks quite nice. And then the bottom of it, pick it up, it's quite light actually. So this is what it looks like underneath. And again, you can see there's lots of, really good detail in, these parts, even though you may not see them normally. They've done a good job. And then these legs just kind of pop in. It's got two little joints, and then that just goes in like that. So there's 15 legs that you've got to put on, which I know because I had to assemble both of these before doing this video. And that's what it looks like. So these don't move, it's just one plastic piece, but you can see there's quite a lot of detail in there, so it looks quite, you know, genuine. And it just goes in. Now they do come out relatively easily, so it's probably not really ideal for young kids to be picking this up and, you know, kind of zooming it around the house, because the legs probably will fall off. But, you know, you can do it. So let's now have a look at the other one. And while we've got the left one upside down, let's turn this one upside down as a comparison. So you can see again just the very clear difference in color. And they use exactly the same mold for the legs. And yeah, basically the mold of both of these are exactly the same. It's just the paint job that's different. You can see this is also a little bit more metallic. This is more of a matte finish. This is more of a metallic look. And it's the same for the top. Exactly the same design, but just a different color. So again, you sort of got the matte black finish. This is more metallic. It's quite shiny. You got the purple ball again, and it's just got more sort of toning in it, but effectively the same thing. So those other figures that I showed you on the box before, they are quite small. I don't have one here, but to just give you a sense of size, that is kind of your standard sized figurine. That is an iPhone 5 case, again, just to sort of put things in perspective. So, you know, these are not going to be actual size compared to the like standard figures. But to be honest, I don't think you'd really want them any bigger, frankly. I mean, it gives you a nice sized model of the spaceship. And, you know, if you were to have this in actual size, it would be huge. And I don't think anyone would want something, you know, 4 or 5 times the size of that just lying around their apartment or their house. Interested what you guys think about which one you personally like better. I personally think that, you know, this one probably fairly obviously looks better. I mean, it's got more detail, it's got more metallic paint and toning and gradient, all that sort of stuff. But I do feel that this one is definitely a more accurate depiction of how it appears in the animation and the series. I think this definitely reflects it a lot better, because the ship was quite a white in the series. It wasn't really this sort of grey, kind of grunge sort of look. So this probably is more accurate to the series, whereas this is kind of a like, let's go nuts and just, you know, make something that looks kind of wacky. But I'm interested what you guys think about this. So there you go. That is the Frieza's Force Spaceship, Frieza Spaceship, released back in 2010 in Japan, both the standard version and the special color version. We do sell this. We don't sell the smaller figures, but if you would like those as well, we can definitely get them in for you as well, and you can get in touch with us in the details in the description of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Love to hear your thoughts on these figures, and I'll speak to you next time.